Hello, I'm Paul Melrose, assisting pastor for pastoral care here at First United Methodist Church of Madison. Recently, lead pastor Mark Fowler preached on the parable of the mustard seed and talked about the nurturing of faith. I was particularly challenged by that and have been thinking about it. And then in perusing some sources I go to a lot, I discovered a writing on the same subject from a different angle by a clergy colleague of the Protestant Episcopal Church, Jim Hamilton. Jim pastors a church in downtown Baltimore and is very much involved in a ministry similar to First in that his church, Church on the Squares downtown, is an open congregation, meets a variety of people who transverse the downtown community and the square where his church is located. And Jim has got some theatrical background to him, is very much a scholar, and he uses metaphors and images which sometimes, when you read his stuff, may not connect. So bear with me as I share these thoughts from Jim Hamilton as he moves through this set of thoughts to get to the issue of faith. And he begins. The burger was enormous. The bun was brioche, toasted golden and crisp like a sunrise over the rugged Rockies. The patty was butter basted, butter blasted, butter marinated, and married butter in a tasteful ceremony on those toasty, sun-kissed mountains. All the toppings had stood up for butter and burger and said we do, and were now dancing the night away in my mouth. I was supposed to be with my youth group at a conference for church, but I knew this was my last chance to pick my way through the tan wastelands of a 90s Cincinnati skyline to have a truly religious experience. Plus, I had convinced a few folks from another group to join me. This validated my choices and technically felt like I was using some finagled form of the buddy system. This concept is what I would base my argument on later that day, to soggy effect. I'd been engaged with my group that morning, eagerly asking pointed questions and pushing back against the flabby theology of moralism and guilt. Maybe I wasn't as respectful as I remember, but I led with inquisitive passion and tried to find a way to wrap my mind around the concepts. It took a few rebuffs from the leaders, redirects, and dissuasions for me to realize that they had never ventured into these steps and had no intention of being lost out in the teenage wasteland of cynicism and disbelief. They seemed happy with what I had decided were subpar answers. Therefore, burger time. I have not eaten meat, in nearly a decade, and I think I would be hard-pressed to resist that unnamed, grease-dripping, down-your-elbow, smothered mess of a Cincinnati burger. I had faith in that man-made wonder, but the faith I had in a petty, praise-swooning, high-production value God was kaput. Faith has been contorted in meaning and foisted back in the faces of the faithless. It is a monstrous affair, if you consider it for a moment. Let's say someone was brutalized by a relationship, psychologically tortured and gaslit. They lost their identity because everyone told them that it was perfect for them. Hiding their own distrust and coping peccadillos, the community that they call home thrusts them back again and again into the arms of an abuser. Unacceptable, right? I am using violence and abuse for effect here, says Jim. But the relationship still deteriorates in the cases of racial inequity, gender inequity, sexual orientation shaming, and so many more degradations of faith perpetrated by the faithful. The church is often guilty of attacking the faithless when the church is the one who systematically often stripped away their faith. Victim blaming is the tool of bullies and feckless conformists. Too often, we misconstrue the role of the faithful as the gardeners of their own faith. We misread agrarian parables and with characteristic hubris place ourselves in the role of sower, cultivating our own faith. But what if faith is just a gift? a blessing bestowed, and we are actually meant to nurture it in community through love and care. Like a baby that miraculously is born trusting these large alien entities for food and warmth and guidance, we are gifted by the environments of trust in which we find ourselves. If that trust is broken through selfishness and malice, we do not blame the child. And we have patience and recognize the true, kind, understanding work it takes to build that trust up again. You are not the arbiter of your faith. This is my supposition, Jim says. You are the receiver of the gift of faith from love in all things. And when that gift is sullied, it is the love in all things that is charged to rebuild your misused faith. Here I am also calling God the love in all things, and we are agents of that love. I hope this makes sense. So, what if a church welcomed you in and met you in your disbelief? What if belief was not requisite for being in church at all? What if the only thing they tried to do was to reorient your sights to the sun-kissed mountains to see beauty peeking through the brokenness again? What if the dogma and doctrine were just playful chit-chat, finding the edges to the vast enormity of our wonder? Chit-chat had over the best burgers you have ever tasted. For me, now made with pea protein, something terrifying called hemi, and gluten-free buns. Sigh. Nurture faith in others and find communities who will help you heal enough to find yours again. Faith begins as small as a sesame seed. Isn't it amazing? Welcome to First Church and its ministries of faith. Amen.